Choosing a Rhine River cruise sounds simple. You find a cruise line, choose a cabin, check the price and book. That is what we did a few years ago when we chose our first Rhine River cruise with Viking at Christmas. There was nothing wrong with Viking and we enjoyed the cruise, but had we have known then what we know now, we may have chosen a different cruise line, ship or itinerary. As first-time river cruisers, we were naturally drawn towards one of the largest and most visible brands in the industry, the company that repeatedly appeared in search results, travel advertising and agency websites. What we did not realise was just how much choice existed. The European River Cruise Association represents more than 24 leading cruise lines operating over 360 vessels, while wider industry figures counted approximately 408 active European river cruise ships in 2024. More importantly, cruisers operating on the same river can deliver completely different holidays. One ship may carry fewer than 100 guests and provide quiet, highly personalised service. Another may carry nearly 300 passengers and feel more like a floating resort. One fare may include drinks, excursions and gratuities. Another may appear cheaper until those extras are added. So the question is not simply which Rhine cruise is best, it is which Rhine cruise is best for the way you want to travel. In this video, we will take you through the 5 decisions we wish we had understood before booking our first Rhine cruise. The itinerary, the ship atmosphere, the cabin, the inclusions and the true final price. Welcome back to Rob and Nawa Travels. We are not travel agents and we are not sponsored by any of the cruise lines discussed in this video. We researched 16 lines offering Rhine itineraries so we could compare the details that matter before spending a considerable amount of money. The Amsterdam-to-Basel route is one of the most popular introductions to European river cruising, and a 7-night sailing can be an ideal length. It is long enough to settle into the rhythm of river cruising and enjoy the experience properly, but not so long that it feels like a major commitment if you discover river cruising is not for you. Starting or finishing in Amsterdam is also convenient for international flights and gives you the opportunity to add a few days before or after the cruise. Amsterdam is far more than an embarkation port. One of the most memorable moments from our first Rhine cruise was visiting the Anne Frank house. Seeing the building where Anne Frank and 7 other people hid during the Second World War gave the city an emotional depth that no photograph could fully capture. But Amsterdam may not be your priority. You may care more about Cologne Cathedral, the castles and vineyards of the Middle Rhine, Strasbourg's historic centre, the Lorley region, or extending your holiday into Switzerland from Basel. Before comparing prices, write down the 3 or 4 places you would most regret missing. Then study the day-by-day itinerary rather than relying on the cruise title. Does the ship travel mainly overnight, giving you more time ashore during the day? Or does it sail partly during daylight and remain in port later into the evening? Those timings can completely change the experience. On a Christmas market cruise, for example, you may be disappointed if the ship departs before the market lights come on and the evening atmosphere begins. The destinations may look identical on paper, but the arrival and departure times determine how much of each place you actually experience. The same applies to scenic sailing. Passing through the castles and vineyards of the Middle Rhine during the afternoon can be very different from sailing through during breakfast, dinner, or after sunset. Cruise titles such as Romantic Rhine, Rhine Discovery, or Rhine Explorer may sound impressive, but the actual schedule tells you what the holiday will really be like. River conditions can also affect the journey. High water reduces the clearance beneath bridges, while very low water may make some sections too shallow for normal operation. A cruise line may respond by changing ports, altering the timetable, substituting a coach journey, or in some circumstances, transferring passengers to another vessel. Larger operators may have more ships and logistical options available, but a ship transfer is never guaranteed. The first rule is simple. Choose the journey you want before choosing the brand. Once you know where you want to go, decide what kind of onboard experience suits you. Many Rhine ships look similar from the outside because they must navigate channels, locks and bridges with restricted clearance. That is why most are long, relatively narrow and built low to the water. But once you step on board, the experience can be completely different. A-ROSA Senna is one of the clearest examples. It is 135 metres long, an unusual 17.7 metres wide, and can carry approximately 280 passengers. It has family cabins, several dining areas, a children's club, an adult pool, a separate children's pool, and extensive spa facilities. Its wheelhouse and its up and down bar can also be lowered hydraulically when restricted bridge clearance requires a lower profile. The result is something closer to a small floating family resort than a traditional narrow river ship. Now compare that with a smaller vessel carrying fewer than 100 guests. It may have fewer facilities, but it can provide a quieter atmosphere, less crowded public areas, intimate dining and more personalised service. Neither is automatically better. The important question is whether you prefer more facilities or fewer passengers. Do you want a lively, family-friendly environment, a social premium cruise, or something closer to a quiet boutique hotel? This is also why cruise reviews can be confusing. One traveller may describe a ship as quiet and elegant, while another describes the same cruise as too formal or too structured. Both opinions may be valid, they simply wanted different experiences. When reading reviews, focus on the reasons behind the score rather than the score alone. Choosing the wrong onboard atmosphere may affect your holiday far more than choosing the wrong cabin. Cruise line category names can be confusing. Category E, Category CA, Grade D, and similar labels tell you very little unless you already know the ship. Instead, ask what you physically receive. The least expensive cabins are usually on the lowest passenger deck and have portholes or fixed windows close to the waterline. The window normally does not open, but the cabin can still provide natural light and a river view. These cabins may offer excellent value if you plan to spend most of your time exploring ashore, in the lounge or on the upper deck. One of our viewers told us they always choose the lowest price cabin and enjoy the scenery from the sun deck, where they can see both sides of the river rather than only one side from the cabin. The next level is commonly called a French balcony. Despite the name, there is normally no platform to step onto. It is usually a floor-to-ceiling opening window or sliding door with a safety railing. Some ships use a panoramic window that lowers electronically, while others provide a genuine exterior balcony with chairs. These designs are not equivalent, even though they may all be marketed using the word balcony. Personally, we prefer a French balcony because it gives us fresh air and an open view without taking as much space from the cabin interior. A genuine outside balcony may be important to you, but river ships are relatively narrow. Creating separate outdoor space can reduce the usable room inside, and the balcony may be used less than expected during cold, wet, or extremely hot weather. Before paying for an upgrade, ask 4 questions. Can we actually step outside? Is the cabin itself larger? Does the bed face the river? And how much time will we realistically spend there? The best cabin is not necessarily the most expensive. It is the one whose features you will genuinely use. The headline fare rarely tells you the complete cost. Drinks are a good example. Some cruise lines include wine, beer and soft drinks only with meals. Others add a complimentary happy hour. More inclusive lines may cover drinks throughout the day, but the brands and types included can still vary. A non-drinker may receive little value from an expensive unlimited bar. A couple who enjoy wine with lunch, cocktails before dinner and a nightcap may consider included drinks genuinely worthwhile. Excursions can make an even greater difference. Scenic, Uniworld, Tauck, Avalon and AmaWaterways offered broader excursion choices on the fares and itineraries we researched. For travellers with mobility concerns, that flexibility can be especially important. Being able to choose between a coach-based tour, a gentle guided walk, a longer 3-hour walking tour, or an active bike ride allows guests to explore at a pace that suits their fitness and comfort level. Travellers who prefer to explore independently may receive better value from a cruise where excursions are optional. On the fares we examined from CroisiEurope, Amadeus and A-ROSA, passengers could select additional tours, arrange their own activities, or simply explore at their own pace. Then check gratuities, airport transfers and flights. Saga, for example, sells a UK-focused package that can include return travel from the United Kingdom, while Gate 1 and Grand Circle may package their products differently for the US market. These are not directly comparable with a simple cruise-only fare. The key question is not which cruise includes the most, it is which included benefits would we otherwise purchase and genuinely use. Only after making the first 4 decisions should you compare prices. This is where our spreadsheet becomes useful, but it is a filter, not the answer. We researched 16 cruise lines and compared the closest suitable Rhine itineraries we could find. The main prices are for 2 adults sharing 1 cabin. We recorded the least expensive cabin, the lowest balcony-style option, drinks, gratuities, excursion, and important differences between the itineraries and packages. But do not begin by sorting the spreadsheet from cheapest to most expensive. First, remove the cruises that do not visit the destinations you care about. Then remove the ships whose size or atmosphere does not suit you. Choose the cabin type you genuinely need. Only after those decisions should you compare the adjusted prices of the remaining options. By that stage, you may have reduced 16 cruise lines to 4 or 5 realistic choices. Tauck was the most expensive option in our research, at a little over $16,000 for 2 in a French balcony cabin, while A-ROSA's lowest adjusted fare was around $3,700. These are not identical itineraries or cruise products, but the difference demonstrates how widely Rhine cruise experiences can vary. One focuses on highly inclusive small group touring, while the other offers a larger, more resort-style experience with some services selected separately. The point is not that one is overpriced and the other is a bargain. They are selling different holidays. Before booking, ask these 5 questions. First, where does the cruise go and how much useful time will we have in each destination? Second, what atmosphere does the ship provide and how many passengers does it carry? Third, what cabin are we physically receiving, not simply what is the category called? Fourth, which drinks, excursions, gratuities, transfers and flights are included? And will we genuinely use them? Finally, what is the total price after adding the extras we would actually purchase? The best Rhine cruise is not automatically the cheapest, the most luxurious, or the highest rated. It is the cruise whose itinerary, ship, cabin, inclusions, and final cost best match the way you want to travel. Our complete comparison spreadsheet is available through the link in the description below. Use it as a research guide rather than a booking tool because prices, promotions, and availability can change. And tell us in the comments which of these 5 decisions matters most to you: the itinerary, the ship atmosphere, the cabin, the inclusions, or the final price. If you are still deciding which European river is right for you, watch our comparison of the major European rivers next. It will help you see the bigger picture before narrowing your choice to the Rhine. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to Rob and Nawa Travels. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.